this is going to be streamed to the Facebook and social media. I would not like to share with you spicy details about our collaboration in this team, but no, it was really very pleasant. So we had some hiccups and turbulent periods, but somehow, because we know each other, we respect each other, we found a way how to regulate our collaboration and to come to the end of the project, and what is also very important, to continue to collaborate even after the project. So it means that we survived, so it's possible. So, but why I'm interested in this collaboration? I think, of course, it is probably over-promising, because if you are interested in something, you start to believe that this is really very relevant, and usually we end up in the risk to believe that this is solution for everything. So forget me if you get this impression after this and next slide. So the first is theoretical relevance. So we are aware that even in educational science or learning sciences, also in developmental sciences, we have two opposite approaches. One is based on the idea of individual construction, and the other is based on the idea of co-construction. And usually, as we used to do in the research community, we start to belong to one or the other camp. But collaboration, I think, is very nice topic of research, because it gives us opportunity to see how individual processes and social processes are coming together, so they are not separated. Even when we have collaboration doesn't mean that we stop to think individually. A lot of things are happening individually when you are working something with others. So collaboration gives us opportunity to understand at this conceptual level how these individual processes and social processes are coming together. And also, so from methodological perspective, in collaboration we have everything. We have individual persons, they have their individual processes, there is something that is happening between people, but this is not only which is relevant, because we have like institutional context, we have maybe teacher. If collaboration are happening in the class with teacher who is not interested in collaboration, or delivering opportunity to students just to collaborate in order for teacher to do administrative work, so students who are collaborating, they are feeling that. And this attitude of teacher that might not be said explicitly in any point is becoming part of collaboration. So in collaboration, from methodological perspective, we get very nice opportunity to study different processes and how they are coming together. Usually, if we are just asking, like if we have individual like survey and we are discussing with students or teachers about some experience in education, we are getting very limited insight into the educational experience. When we are observing and analyzing collaboration, we get opportunity to disentangle different processes and to understand how they are coming together. Educational relevance is probably the most important. So first, collaborative competence is important for itself. So this is the reason why it is included in the main outcomes of education in many, many countries. And this is for the good reason, because we are aware that in future new generations, they will need to live and to collaborate with many different people. So they need to be successful in the future, they need collaborative competence. But also nowadays, we have different forms of collaborative learning in education sector. We have like project-based learning, problem-based learning, dialogical teaching and learning. So they are all based on collaboration. So if we understand collaboration, we get opportunity to improve the quality of all these approaches and processes in the classroom. And finally, so for me this is very much important, usually we are thinking about education in the sense that student is educated by teacher. But for me, education is team sport. So it's not about one individual teacher, it's about the school. And school is consisted of teachers, they need to collaborate, like in the football representation national team, you have 11 people, they create the game. They win or lose. So I think that school is something that educates our children, not individual teachers. So education in its heart is team sport. So collaboration is necessity part of that process. And also scientific relevance. We know that the time when we had one individual scientist working in his or her office and doing some nice, very wise and bright stuff, it's long gone. So nowadays we are all collaborating with different colleagues. Sometimes they are from our field, sometimes they are from another field. And it's really, when you speak, for example, about European framework and projects realized in European frameworks, usually people are complaining when they collaborate with colleagues from other fields. And usually you have this narrative like, oh, they don't understand what we are doing, they don't understand our concepts, they're not even interested in our concepts. And we are doing the same. We say, oh, these IT people, they're so superficial, sorry. So that, et cetera, et cetera. So this narrative is present like widely. So it means that we also need to learn how to collaborate across disciplines and across even institutions, even if we belong to the same discipline. Again, we are maybe doing stuff differently, and we need to learn how to collaborate. But also from socially and cultural perspective, we are witnessing today that our societies are fractured. Many groups are marginalized, isolated. They are not involved in the social processes. Their voice is not heard. And why? Again, because of collaboration. Because when we, for example, get together people to discuss about reform of education, probably Roma kids, Roma families, so that those who are most marginalized probably would not be involved in these discussions. Why? Because of stereotypes. Because of the same reasons they are excluded from the society. So how to create or how to learn, how to create conditions and to support collaboration even at that social level in order to try to find a way how to make the bridge between polarized society and groups which are more and more are living in echo chambers. We need to find a way because otherwise we are going to lose societies. And if we are losing society, it's not something external of our life. This is inherent part of our life. In that case, we are losing also part of our life. So I think that this is why, for me, collaboration is an interesting topic and why it deserves to be studied really carefully and from different perspectives. So what I'm going to speak in the rest of presentation, the first I'm going to focus on the big gap between our dreams on collaboration and the reality of collaboration. Next, I would like to get focused on what makes difference between those cases of collaboration that are very positive and productive. But we also have cases which are, to say it politically correctly, which are not so positive and productive. So what makes difference between these two groups of cases? Then obviously we need to support collaboration. Collaboration doesn't come spontaneously. In our education system, for years, teachers are advised to give opportunity to students to work together. But what happens in the most cases is that students don't collaborate. They simply just share the task. Everybody is doing part of the task, and they just put that together. For example, if this is PowerPoint presentation, I am doing one slide, my colleague doing second slide, and we never take a look on the whole presentation. So this is mimicry of collaboration, and it has not positive impact on the students' learning and development. It has negative impact because through education, our students learn that collaboration is something superficial, something not important. And could you imagine how they are going to be surprised in future life when they find themselves to collaborate with many different people, they might say, okay, the school missed opportunity to help me to learn. So that students and teachers, they need some support. So collaboration, successful collaboration will not happen just like that. It's not enough to put students, so part of presentation will be presentation of peer training that we developed in this peer solvers project, and also evaluation of the impact of that training, and at the end, some conclusions, and in line with the main topic of the conference, something about future perspectives. So this is our dream on collaboration. So you put students together, they're happy, they're working together, they are doing stuff together, and through this process, like kind of the miracle, some learning and development is happening and everybody is happy. So you see the teacher in the right up corner. So teacher is happy, parents are happy. So, and in general, this is true because it is potential of collaboration. But in reality, something else is happening. So in reality, when we put students together, as I said, in the best case, for example, based on the Serbian experience, they don't care. They don't work together. They simply take part of the job, they are doing this part and combine with others. But in many occasions, they start to fight. They start to argue. Or if they have different opinions, they are avoiding to express their opinion because maybe I'm getting along with this friend of mine. This is my best friend. If I now express different opinion, maybe we are not going to be friends anymore. So that students are avoiding collaboration. So this is reality. And now what we can do between this dream and this reality, between potential and reality. And okay, so it came to my mind this Tolstoy quote that all happy families are alike and each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. So we might apply this to the collaboration experience, but there is one question mark, and I will later I will try to debunk this and to argue that we cannot apply this to collaboration, but I believe also for families it is not true as well. So what makes difference? We have cases like happy cases on the left side, and we have like unhappy, unproductive experience, and after that experience we come to conclusion that I would never work with other people, I would only work with myself. Till we start to fight also with ourselves, because it might happen as well. So what makes difference? So we made a qualitative systematic review, and this paper is published in Educational Research Review. It was based on 134 research papers published since 2012. And these papers, they provide some findings about what makes difference between successful cases of collaboration and unsuccessful cases of collaboration. Criteria in these papers, what these authors, what they used as criteria, in the most cases they used as criteria some qualitative characteristics of collaboration, but in third part of cases they also used some external variables like success on the post-test, either on some competence test or knowledge test, so it was something externally evaluated. So when we identified every piece of finding, like what makes difference, what in these papers we found as difference, we at the end tried to classify this, and we identified 6 components of face-to-face collaboration. So we get focused only on the face-to-face collaboration. Nowadays it's a big issue with online collaboration. I believe it's, of course, it's overlapping field, and some things that are valid for face-to-face are also valid for online collaboration, but I think that this is different context of collaboration, and probably it should be studied in coordination, but separately. So that first is engagement. And it's obvious, so that if you have students in the group and they are not engaged, of course that it will not work. At least it will work because we will not get fight to each other. But we are going to be uninterested and it will be simply losing of time and energy. So the first condition is to have participants who are interested, who are engaged and involved in collaboration. The second one is, if we are speaking about collaborative problem solving, so it means that they are together trying to solve some problem. Of course, that one part of success is if you develop together, if you apply proper strategy for this problem. So this is something like two components which are in a way irrelevant for collaboration or independent from collaboration. Okay, so then we have 4 components which are really related to the collaboration. The first component is very well known. So for decades we know that this is a relevant component. So from even theories of development like Piaget, Vygotsky, after that neo-Piagetians, neo-Vygotskians, so that they are always putting the stress on the social cognitive component. So it means how we are thinking together. So do we listen each other? Do we provide arguments for our statements? Are we able to reflect together, to develop ideas together, to reflect them and critically reflect upon different options and ideas? So this is a social cognitive component. But we are human beings. And we are finding with each other, even if we are good friends, of course, the big part of our collaboration are our personal relationships. And what is going on in between of us? So do we manage to create positive atmosphere? Do we respect each other? Do we address to each other with respect and with interest? So that, or we maybe exclude someone. Or maybe we say to someone, you are stupid, you know nothing, you are the worst student in the class, shut down, so just do what I tell you. Or even sometimes it happens like, yes, okay, I will tell you what is the best to do, and please just take a pen and write down the answer. So these kind of components are very much important, and it is related to the social emotional components. But then regulation is important, because as I said, it is not essentially that one group is like happy group and the other one is not happy. So even happy and productive groups, they have troubles, hiccups, turbulences in their joint work. And what is important is not that we end up in troubles. What is important is what we are doing with these troubles. So it's regulation, joint regulation of our group processes. And one part of processes are related to the task, how we are regulating together our thinking and exploring solution for the problem we are working on. And the second part is about our relationships, because if we end up in the bad atmosphere, everybody gets silent and nobody is engaged, what we are doing with that? So we should not take it as a final destiny, so that this is simply like that. We can do something. Okay, maybe sometimes we will not manage. Maybe at the end we will just split out, but it is worth of trying. So groups who are trying to regulate their relationships, they are more successful groups. So we can say that first 2 are problem-related, and the rest 4 are collaboration-related. And then based on this finding, we tried to create a model, like a model of quality of collaboration. And this model is like 4 components, like we have cognitive or social emotional aspects, we have performative component, and we have regulation component. So we believe that these 4 components like coming together, and if we have all of them, so this is what give a chance to our collaboration to be happy and productive. And then based on this theoretical model, we tried to develop observational grid So some instrument that will be used, and we will rely on these instruments on the next slide, on this instrument on the next slides when we would speak about evaluation of the impact of this of peer training. So that it is CPS observational grid. It is consisted of 22 items, 8 items social cognitive component. So it's, for example, group members sought and or provided explanation for presented ideas and suggestions. Social emotional component, 4 items, like group members address each other with respect. Regulation of the activities oriented toward the problem, 5 items, like group plan, its approach to solving the task. Regulation of relationships, 5 items, like throughout the work, group members propose coordinated group and individual activities. So that each item is assessed on the scale, 5-point scales from the 0, like not at all, it was not present in the collaboration, till 4, it was always present, and usually, because it's observational grid, it is good if 2 independent observers make evaluation of some collaboration, or if you have experienced or trained observers, you might first check their inter-rater agreement, for example, after 20% of cases, and after that you can use it, each collaboration can be evaluated by 1 observer. So now the training for collaboration. So what is the question? So that we said very frequently we have unhappy and unproductive cases. Now the question is what we can do. Can we develop some training in order to increase the chances for a group to end up in something that will be positive experience and productive in terms of learning and development? So this is peer training. We developed this training within the project of peer solvers, and this is foundation of the training. So it is founded on 3 systematic reviews. First one, so you have a link to each study. First one was already mentioned. So this is the study in which we try to identify components that makes difference between like successful cases and less successful cases. The second one was about role of personality. Personality is overlooked aspect of collaboration. And usually we might say, oh, no, I am not the person for collaboration, or I am enjoying to collaborate, and it's close to the common sense that some people who are more maybe higher on extroversy, so they will enjoy in collaboration, and if you are introvert, so maybe you are not the person for collaboration. And I will tell you later how we include this component in the training. And the third systematic review was focused on the role of emotional intelligence or social emotional competencies in collaboration. So the training, you can find the English version of the training manual based on the link. If you are interested, I can share with you presentation. Just write me down email and I will send you presentation so you have all links to the literature. So that first component is about personality. And we didn't approach to this component to tell participants in the training that some people are for collaboration, some people are not for collaboration. We assume that everybody needs to collaborate. Even if I am prone to work individually, not to spend my time with a lot of people, crazy people, people with different ideas, so still, probably, life will bring me to the situation to collaborate. So it doesn't matter, life is not only what I would prefer. So tomorrow I would maybe work in the school, but I would need to collaborate with other teachers, or with school principal, or maybe with parents, or with policy makers. So regardless of if I prefer that or not, I would need to collaborate. So our assumption is that everybody should collaborate, and moreover, everybody can contribute to collaboration in specific way. So it's not that everybody needs to contribute to the successful collaboration in the same way. If I am extrovert, I will just take this example, of course, maybe I will speak more. I will just generate a lot of ideas. Yeah, we can do this, we can do that. Maybe I will not think through all these ideas, but I will just throw it out. But that maybe somebody will sit on the side and listen carefully, and we will debate. And this person has advantage, because this person who is sitting on the side but engaged, this person at a certain point might say, look, maybe we can try with this. Because this person has advantage because he or she doesn't speaking a lot, to reflect a lot, and to help to the group with some synthesis of different ideas. So everybody can contribute, and this is important part of the training to first raise awareness of students and teachers that there is no such person who is not for collaboration. That there are different ways to contribute, and that everybody can contribute, and that during the group work, we need to be sensitive on these differences and to appreciate them and to support everyone in the group to contribute in his or her own way. Second is exchange, it's social cognitive component. So this part of the training is focused on dialogue, argumentative discussion, how to develop ideas together, and how to regulate social cognitive component. Third one is related to the social emotional aspects, how to create and maintain or recover positive atmosphere in the group, positive relationships in the group in spite of our disagreements. So, because when we disagree at social cognitive level, we tend to get nervous, and then maybe there is a chance to get in fight to each other. So regulation is again very much important component of this part of the training. And the fourth component is also something which is more and more relevant, that every group needs, especially if they are faced with complex social issues like scientific social issues, they need to use and to rely on some sources of information. It might be internet, it might be teacher, it might be like textbooks. So how to use these sources of information in a clever way, so this is also the part of the training. So now about evaluation of the training. So because I need to be quick, I will just get focused on the findings, so that it was upper secondary students, so 16 years old, pre-post test design. We had experimental groups, control groups. They were equalized at the beginning, not randomly, because we cannot just randomly assign the students, but they were similar in the pre-test. So they worked together in group of triads. They worked on the social scientific issues, complex issues. In the pre-test, we evaluated quality of their collaboration. Experimental group gets the training. 4 days training, 3-4 hours each day. And after that, they work again on the similar social scientific issue in the post-test. Control group, they didn't have training. They continue this week in regular classes. And what we found is that peer training improved 3 components of collaboration, except social emotional. But social emotional was very high at the beginning, because also students, sometimes they select each other. So then from the beginning, they were in good relationships, so that we hope that maybe this is the reason why this dimension was not improved. Also, the students from the experimental group, they provided higher quality solution for the problems they deal with. And finally, we tried to test hypothesis, what of these components mediates effects of training, and it seems the social cognitive component is the it mediates completely effect of the training, which is understandable, but we believe, this is our assumption, that other components are important because they support good social cognitive exchange. So then we tried to do something we were curious about. We thought, okay, if we improve collaboration and if we provide students opportunity to collaborate over PISA science items, so do we get improvement in their individual science competence? So we tried to see if improved collaboration will have some like benefits at the individual level. Not only that I'm getting ability to collaborate, but maybe I will learn and develop my competence through the high quality collaboration. So that students in the pre-test, we developed 2 parallel tests for science competence based on the released PISA items. So it was parallel also to the PISA score. So they did it in the pre-test, then they got the training in experimental group, control group didn't get training, and then after they get a chance again to individually work on the parallel test of science competence, and again in experimental group they improved their science competence in the post-test. And again, social cognitive dimension component was the most important mediator of the training effect. So conclusions, let's coming back to Tolstoy. What is the problem with Tolstoy is that it's static and essential. Like if we come together, somehow there is a destiny. So we are for collaboration or we are not for collaboration. But it's more dynamic, it's open, it's more promising process. Yes, this is true. We can start in very positive way, but then we can find out some challenges, we can get fight, etc. But then if we are doing something with that, we can come back to the positive track and to end up in the positive way. So this is also the problem from methodological perspective, because in many studies, we are trying to sequence the process of collaboration and to count occasions like positive, negative occasions, but this is not essential. Even if we would have like out of 1 hour of collaboration, like 40 minutes of fights, but if we come back and then if we create positive atmosphere and positive exchange and joint thinking, we will be successful. And we will even be proud on ourselves. So it's not about number of events during collaboration. It's about the holistic quality of collaboration. So it is really about joint regulation, not about some individual competencies, that I have high competence individually for collaboration and somebody doesn't have. It's about what we are doing together. Second is that, as we said, collaborative competence is more and more important, and good news is that we have it more and more in education system. But the bad news is that we need to provide some support. So it doesn't come spontaneously, as I said a few times. So it means that students in the school, but I would say also teachers, because in many cases teacher job is individual endeavor. And as I said, I believe that teachers also need to collaborate with each other because education is a team sport. I think that schools, they need support system. So collaboration is complex. And then we need to provide support to teachers and the schools. So if we are thinking about future, so this is one model how we can cultivate collaboration competence in education. I believe that the first part is very much important. It is to systematically build culture of collaboration in the school. In many occasions, I don't know for your education system, but for example, in Serbian education system is very much centralized. There is a strong hierarchy. So, and it prevents people to collaborate. So if we have this system, if we have school which is hierarchical, even if we as a teachers provide students opportunity to collaborate in the classroom, For students, it's meaningless because they are looking around themselves and they see that nobody collaborates. And then students think that this is some kind of game teachers are providing to them. So in order to support students to understand and to value collaboration, we need to have a collaborative culture within our educational institutions. Then training, something like peer training or some other training, doesn't matter, but training is not enough. And this is what we also found in our study. So yes, training in average improved experimental group. But still, even in experimental group, we had cases of lousy collaboration. So it's not enough. Training is something that is necessary, but not sufficient. Usually, there is need for scaffolding in the class. So we need to prepare students to collaborate, but then when collaboration starts to happen, teacher is necessary part of that, to be around the group and to support the group when they come, especially to the critical points of collaboration. And the final part is we should provide students serious problems, not something superficial. If you give to the students, I don't know, upper secondary education tasks like 2 + 2, so this task doesn't need collaboration. Somebody already knows the answer, or everybody knows. So we need really to respect our students and to provide to them, I would say, social issues that we are thinking about today. Something like how to live in polarized society. Something like that. So, because if we give them complex issues, then they will really have meaningful collaboration because these issues, they require collaboration. They require more minds. So we should not play like with collaboration and give them something that can be done individually in a few minutes, but something really like serious challenges. And some ideas for future studies, so that I would like to divide in 2 slides. One is about what we can do in academic community. It's research-led studies. I would say to go toward hot issues. So for example, a colleague of mine is doing a PhD thesis, and he's trying to put together students from Serbian community and Bosnia community to discuss about historical representations of some conflict events in the past, not current hot events, but in the past. It's interesting, so because then you see a lot of identity processes, a lot of emotional processes, contrary to the case when we deliver students peace items. So it's really very interesting, and since we have polarized societies, we should experiment with those topics that are part of our everyday life. Also, we need to study different forms of support, trainings. What does it mean? What happened after the training? How participants appropriate the training? How they enact the like skills and competencies in their real context, in the school, in the classroom. So this is interesting because this is something that we need to understand in order to improve our support system, and also so to identify cases that are successful with or without support and less successful, to try to monitor and to understand maybe it is more complex than we believe at the moment based on this systematic analysis. But I'm very much enthusiastic about school-led approach that will change our research perspective. So we would not be main actor in this kind of studies. We ask our partners in the schools, let's try to organize and to prepare, okay, we will give you materials, we will give you training, we will give you preparation, whatever. But then you are doing collaborative exercise in your class. But we are there to help you to prepare that, to realize that, and together to analyze that, so that teachers and practitioners would be generators of the knowledge. And we are more there in the supportive role of curator of the knowledge. And then what is our role is to document the good practices and then to exchange, to create the system to make it available to other teachers. Because if I'm a teacher, maybe I will see 10 good examples. First one would be stupid for me. Second one would be, no, I don't believe it will work. But third one, look, it's interesting idea. Maybe I should try. And then I tried this in the practice. So I think that maybe we should also think and reflect to create additional roles than typical one, that we are those who create the knowledge and then we deliver to practitioners. Maybe we could reflect also to change relationships between researcher community and practitioners community. At the end, I spoke like 45 minutes, and everything what I said can be summarized nicely in one quote. Pity for me, pity for you, so that I could give you a quote at the beginning so you could sleep, but I don't know why I keep it for the end. So coming together is beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. So it is the quote of Henry Ford. So thank you for your attention. If you have questions, comments, suggestions, even personal experiences and jokes about collaboration, it's also welcome. Thank you.
I think you will agree with me that Aleksandar deserves a little token of our appreciation for this beautiful keynote. Even prior, he will answer to your questions, right? Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now, dear colleagues, your input is welcome. And as Aleksandar opened, it can be coming in different forms. We have first, slow. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I will remember. Rest, then.
It's working. Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate that this was part of keynote speeches, that some practical examples of what we really do. And I am working with journaling in methodology classes, and we do a lot of collaborative work, and the way we do it, we really try to have it really simple, because it's for the future special educators, so they're not interested in research methods at all, because they're not going to do research in their profession. So I really struggled, we really struggled to how to make it interactive, how to do the collaborative work, and we started to use journaling. And what I'm really interested in, when you say that you have some training, and you said, for example, that you need, or we need to improve capacities of students to establish and regulate productive dialogues and discussions. Great, but how do you do that?
So that we developed the training, so that this component is consisted of several parts activities. Each activity has is related to one of skills related to the positive and productive debate. So that if you're interested, you can take a look, but I need to say, I don't want this promotional talk, that this is miracle. It's not. This is the best what we can do. We developed that, we proved that it works, at least in our case, but I would advise you to take a look on those activities, and then maybe some of these activities would be meaningful for you, and you can try it out. You don't need to take whole training, so you can feel free to use it in the way which is the most meaningful for you. But what I would say as well regarding to your question is that methodological classes, again, this is probably our fault in academia. I am really research person, so I adore methodology, I enjoy methodology, but I think that sometimes we make it too complicated, and our students, they think this is just for genius. And as I said, I think that if we convince our students and teachers that research methodology is not something that belongs only to Nobel Prize winners, but we are doing research every day. We are not aware of that. So I think that we need also to change the perspective on methodological classes. And for example, when I said practice-led research, it will be also part of that, to convince, yes, as a teacher, you are already doing some kind of exploration, explorative studies, or so that this is part of your job. And finally, when we take a look on the European framework, qualification framework, master level, and usually teachers at the master level, this level includes research competencies. I think that trouble that many teachers during initial education have with methodology are related to our approach, that we should probably rethink the approach and to try to encourage them that this is something that belongs to them, not only to researchers in labs. Yeah?
Just a statement and a question. First of all, I really enjoyed what you said about having the task is complex. I think that makes a big difference. We have students that do small group kind of book study, and then at the end, they evaluate themselves. And I just wanted to know, and this is a little joke, but some of the students acknowledged they didn't really collaborate very well. So do you have like any research on students evaluating their own ability to collaborate, or how they're understanding collaboration in general?
Yeah, so we had the part of the research study was that at the end of collaboration, every student make individual observation on the experience of collaboration. But when we analyzed this data, we found out that it's too positive. And again, this is a reflection, I think, of the whole culture in our education system, because even at the higher education level, when you ask students to evaluate your course, usually you get 4 and 5, regardless of what you are doing. Sometimes I wonder who are those colleagues who get 2 and 3, and what they are doing to students. So, and then we come to conclusion that we didn't get something meaningful, but we, in the research design, we include also this component, but unfortunately, this part of study, I don't believe we can say something meaningful based on that. Sorry for that. But I think this is a good idea, because again, self-evaluation is an important part of learning and development, so that we need to share with students what are criteria of the high quality of collaboration, so that they can make reflective exercise after each experience of collaboration for themselves. Because in this way, I think they will also support themselves to improve their future cases of collaboration. But in our case, it didn't work. Maybe it is because of self-reported instrument. Maybe we should think about that and to do it differently, so maybe it's our fault. Thank you.
Taina Peltonen from Finland. I would like to ask, what do you think about multi-grade teaching, so combined class, integrated class, however the word. What do you think about it? Because I'm the researcher of that part, and I have also been a teacher many years ago. So it is pointed out that there are more cooperation with pupils, and they are going to be more independent because teachers don't have not so much time. So collaboration is going better with those groups. What do you think, and do you have research about that? Thank you.
I am fully for that, because as I said, that would be opportunity for students to see how different teachers collaborate. This is one. Second, it is a lot of things. When you are giving frontal lecture, of course, you are the one who is controlling everything. But when you deliver this collaborative class, then it is good to have like more eyes and more minds on the side of the teacher. But the problem is that now I don't have a research study on the co-teaching, but I am fully for that. from conceptual reasons, but I have practical experience. For example, we involved teacher assistants in our education system. At the beginning, it was for Roma students because they are highly marginalized, but then it was extended to all students who would need some additional support. But the problem was identity problem, because teachers, because they didn't prepare enough for this change, teachers, regular teachers, they tried to defend the space. And then they kept teacher assistants outside of the class. And I think that this is something like missing opportunity. And this is missing not because our teachers are not for collaboration, etc., but simply we have this hierarchical education policy making, and somebody in some office get great idea about co-teaching, but they didn't prepare conditions. And when I defined collaboration, I said collaboration is successful under certain conditions. We need to pay more attention how to prepare some changes and how to create conditions for successful collaboration, not just to let some change in the schools and to believe that teachers will find their way. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your exciting and very optimistic presentation. It's important for me personally because we're trying to go this similar way, but with bachelor students. But for 16 years old, it's even more crucial, I think. My question is, do you have any data or observations or feedback, anything about using those skills which were developed during those workshops outside the classrooms, when the students use them by their own initiatives, whatever, sports club, family, the teenage companies, whatever. Do you have anything about that?
Yeah, this is the next step. So when we developed training, we collaborated in the beginning stage, like before we developed training, we collaborated with policymakers. We had workshops to understand what are the needs of practitioners. And then when we developed training and proved its effectiveness, we had workshops, again, with practitioners, policymakers, how it can be introduced in the education system. So the next step would be to help schools to apply that, but not in the same way like we did it for the research purpose, but to distribute this. So it doesn't need to be 4 days next to each other, 3 hours, but to find, and we also provided some guidelines, like some parts of training should be done by school psychologists, some parts can be done by teacher of any subject, etc. We have some, but we didn't continue because our project ended up with development of training, so we hope that we can continue that and to learn more about enactment. So it's completely another story. So now when it starts to live in the school. But when you come to this question now, okay, don't say to anyone, although this is recorded to the social network, but I believe that school cheating is probably the best part of our education system at the moment. Because during cheating, our students learn to use technology, to collaborate, to solve problems, and unfortunately, they are becoming very skillful in terms of key competencies, but in something which is not the goal of education. But this is the result not because our students don't evaluate education, but because the education is becoming meaningless, because they are not learning in the school what is relevant for the life. They don't learn in the way which is engaging for them. I think that if we would find a way to integrate their engagement in the regular activities, so then probably we would find much more meaningful collaboration in this educational learning. At the moment, I see that, unfortunately, only on these off-task activities. I should not say that, but okay. Oh, yeah, you can come. So.